Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. This morning, two African Americans, one an associate of Kanye West, are among the 18 indicted with Donald Trump who will turn themselves in this week. Just who are they? I'm hearing feedback. I'm sorry, folks. And I think it's all my fault as I try to turn something off here. It's driving me absolutely crazy, and I can't turn it off. But anyway, as we move forward, and 14 years after his death, a three-judge panel in California, in a scathing opinion, said Michael Jackson was a raging pedophile who preyed on children with the help of his companies, and therefore they allowed two men to move forward with a lawsuit against Michael's company, saying they failed to protect them from the superstar. And more, it seems that West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin will run for president. We will bring you his latest hints that he is indeed going to run for president. And on a sad note, Cephas Jones, a veteran stage actor who won 2 Emmys for his role as a long lost father who finds redemption on the NBC television drama series This Is Us, has died at the age of 66. All of this and all of my mess ups here with Oshia Boyd this morning. Oshia is back with us. What's going on, Oshia? You see, Oshia on mute. She's like, I don't want no part of this. How you doing?
Okay, good morning. Good morning.
See, nope, I'm done. Oshia's up to some new stuff. Tell folks what you're up to, Oshia.
Well, today is actually will be my first day as editor-in-chief of the as yet to be named nonprofit newsroom in Indianapolis. Right now, we're called Indiana Local News Initiative, and so our focus is service journalism, community journalism, accountability journalism, all the things, but also making sure that we cover that we really pay attention to and focus on the underserved communities in our area, in our city. The people that are not getting the news they need, or if they're getting news, it's misinformation, disinformation. You know, that pass it down telephone game that we used to play as kids. The news when you're getting, and by the time you get it, it's a whole different story. So we're trying to make sure that we actually give people the news they need to what I like to say is to survive, not just survive, but to thrive and make good decisions, empower them in their daily lives. You know, to go out here and vote for people, to feel empowered, to go to these board meetings, um, ask questions, be a concerned citizen, just all the things we say we want people to do in this country, but we really make it difficult to do. So our goal is to make it easier for them and to give them the news. That's what I do. So
Well, it's interesting because as we were saying beforehand, recently I discovered a term that was really interesting because we hear food deserts. Well,
hmm
there are so many news deserts now. So
hmm hmm
the initiative that Oshia is doing hopes to fill a news desert out there in Indiana.
yes. We want to fill those gaps. You have hospital deserts, news deserts, food deserts. So we
Everything. Is there, do you
we
guys
want to
have a
go
web?
to the hospital deserts.
How about that? Do you guys have a website yet?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you guys have a website yet?
Yes, we do. Oh shoot, you're going to ask me this on my very first in indianalocalnews.org. I believe
All
that's
right.
it. indianalocalnews.org. And we're going to launch by the end of the year, at the end of the year. So
Awesome. Well, Oshia, we start this morning. Two prominent African Americans have found themselves in the middle of the unfolding legal drama surrounding former President Donald Trump. Harrison Floyd and Trevion Kutai are publicists who have turned suspects and stand among Trump's 18 alleged co-conspirators in his attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis has hit both, along with Trump and the others, with serious racketeering charges. Now, about Floyd, he led a Trump-funded group to bolster 2020 voter turnout for the MAGA Republican. He was Blacks for Trump. And Kutai is a stylist and publicist best known for previously working with Kanye West. Uh, oh, yeah. How do Black folks get mixed up in this? I mean, we're talking about racketeering with Donald Trump.
Money, the grift. They steal money. I feel like, what's the lady's name again? I feel like there have been stories about her previously, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's pretty well known. Trevion Kutai,
yeah.
if that's how you pronounce her last name.
Yeah, I think they get caught up because it's power, it's money. You want to be adjacent to power and figure out a way for yourself to get in there and get some power and money. And let's be honest, there's not a lot of Republicans in, not a lot of black people in the Republican space. So that opens doors that are not open in the Democratic space. You don't have to push so many people out the way. And then when you say the right things, you become that Black person that's saying the things that white people want to say, but they can't. So, and you can say it. And so they're like, oh yeah, and you become their chosen one. I think that's the idea. Could be wrong, but I think there's a lot of money in being that Black person.
Well, she's accused in part of traveling to Atlanta to influence the testimony of Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman before the Georgia grand jury regarding allegations of election fraud. So it's like even after the crime had been committed, long after, and a grand jury was impaneled, she allegedly goes to Atlanta to try and get this election worker to basically perjure herself.
She's not a quitter.
Serious stuff. She's not a quitter.
She dug her heels in, and she stood her ground, and she just kept going with it. I think because people think there's some kind of reward at the end, so it's like I'm in it. I don't know how.
Do they believe? At some point, folks, there's a saying that you tell a lie long enough, you start to believe it yourself. Do they believe that the election was stolen?
I have no idea. It seems very like it just seems like a cult, like you worship at the altar of Donald Trump. I have no idea if you just buy into it, or you just like, I'm just staking my claim on this because it will come out in my favor. I don't know, or you're just too far gone to admit you made it. I will never understand. I will never understand what's going on in people's minds when it comes to this one particular person. Because it's like you really turn him into a deity I don't get it.
Yeah, because on the other hand, like we see like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis doing just all out evil stuff, right? But I don't see what I haven't seen, and maybe you've seen it, maybe others have seen it. What I don't see in the DeSantis world are Black folks.
Oh no, you're right. I've never seen one, I don't think.
But you see them sprinkled throughout the Trump situation. So it's really interesting.
But when you think about Trump, you have to go back and you have to look all the way back to the past. Trump has been around forever, and Black people have always been friends with Trump. I mean, he hung out with celebrities, right? So, and they were always taking pictures. I remember watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous as a kid, and they were going through Donald Trump's house. I mean, I remember that back in the 80s. And so there's always been this goal to connect with Trump because he's rich and famous, and powerful. DeSantis doesn't have that same allure.
Right.
He does not have that same allure. He doesn't have history that goes back decades of being rich and powerful. So, and he doesn't already have connections with Black people. Yeah, I mean, you got the picture up of of Trump when he was younger, and look at all the people with Trump. I mean,
Mhm.
so him being around black people is not new. DeSantis, as even though I think it's clear Trump is racist, but he still was around famous black people for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
DeSantis does not have any black people in his corner whatsoever. He's pretty much staked the claim on that he wants to remove all things black out of the schools, and so so I think there's a difference there that you really can't compare the two um, at all. But you're right. I don't think I've ever seen anybody black in.
Yeah, he has. I'm sure somewhere in the state there's some black folks working under him, working, in his
You know there are.
administration somewhere.
There
But
are.
that's just it.
Yeah, they're not front and center, and they're not talking about him and standing up for him like they probably are in Florida, just hasn't made national news yet. But
Allegedly
he'll if
committing
he's trying
crimes
to
for
bring
him.
them on out, he'll trot them on out at his supporters to say, "See, I like the blacks."
Oh God, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Wow, yes, that it was an English guy, right, who used to
Robin Leach.
do the narration.
Robin Leach.
Robin Leach. That's
Yep.
that's that's him. Interesting. And speaking of another one of Trump's late associates who was black, Michael Jackson, California appeals court on Friday revived lawsuits from two men who alleged that Michael Jackson sexually abused them for years when they were boys. A three-judge panel really rocked the Jackson world with their comments. It was not only that they agreed to allow these lawsuits to go forward, O'Shea, but it was the comments that they wrote. These judges basically, in summary, said that Jackson, in their words, was a raging pedophile whom his companies failed to protect young boys, including these two young ones. Really heavy stuff. When a panel of judges makes that ruling, and you got to go and say something, right in their findings. This now you go these young men, now they go before a jury, right? How much does that influence a potential jury?
I think a lot. I think a lot because um, I really Michael Jackson's been dead how many years now? 14, did you
It's been
say?
14 years.
Um, I'm just very, very, and I'm a Michael Jackson. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm a Michael Jackson fan.
Yes, I
Seriously, so
know.
these allegations I have struggled with for years. Um, because if someone was harmed, I don't want to be someone who supports someone who's harmed children. But at the same time, it just seems like, and Michael Jackson shouldn't have put himself in these situations. I don't think. Well, I know he shouldn't have, but it just seems like this just won't stop with these two people. It's just these same two people that continue to ride this till the wheels fall off. I mean, they're sticking beside this. They're gonna stick beside it. And for these judges to say raging pedophile, I mean, what proof do we have that he was a raging pedophile? And the man is dead and has been dead for 14 years. So, and I don't think we ever truly had definitive proof in the first place. If I remember correctly. He settled, but that didn't actually prove anything. That was a settling instead of keeping this thing going. It was a business decision, from my understanding. So,
I think the problem becomes how many times he settled, right?
yes.
There's on record there was at least four settlements, and we're talking, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think that's where some people really give pause. And then hearing their stories, these two young men's stories on that documentary, Leaving Neverland, was just so compelling. Um, and in one of the cases with young, well, he's 40 years old, James Safechuck, he was the one alleged victim who never supported Michael Jackson and flew under the radar for all these years. Now,
Mhm.
Wade Robeson testified for Michael Jackson at
Hmm.
Michael's criminal trial that nothing ever happened. So it's so I see the struggle that fans and others alike have here. The struggle of he was never found guilty, right? The
Hmm.
struggle of he's dead for 14 years. Some you said that they just the same two. But then when you flip the on the other side, right? If you're a victim of such a life altering crime as
Yeah, and they go and
pedophilia,
yeah,
that yeah, so you understand why someone may decide, I don't care if he's dead or not, I don't care how long he's been dead, I'm going to continue to go after this. So it's a real struggle on both
it
sides.
is.
If you're a believer that Michael Jackson is innocent, or if you're a believer that these kids are telling the truth, because we went through this phase. It seems like this phase is over, Oshia. Believe the victim. It seems like we've now passed the Me Too phase.
Well, and I struggle with this. Like I said earlier, I struggle with this as a Michael Jackson fan. I mean, from the time I was a little girl, right? Um, but and I counter that with how I feel about Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, and and how I feel about Michael Jackson. So I'm always going back and forth within myself about, okay, why do I feel this way about one person but feel this way about a different person? And I think part of it is the proof. I think part of it is the just the we have significant amount of proof for these other people where this has never been thoroughly proved this in the same way for Michael Jackson. And the fact that he's dead makes it a little bit more contentious because tenuous, because you don't really know what he's not here to defend himself or admit anything either. So and not that death absolves you from harms of people. So I'm just like,
It's a,
oh, why are they making it hard on me? To pick, I'm not trying to be like, I'm not taking this lightly, but it's just like as a fan, you just get torn. You don't know what to do. I wish there was absolute proof, then I would know which way to go much easier.
Yeah, I think
Um,
there's many who feel that way, and then there are some you look at that film. If like a lot of people were moved, and in fact, the R. Kelly documentaries, um, that really got the prosecution rolling. In that case, it took that documentary,
yeah,
and it got people incensed because we knew about R. Kelly's accusations forever. We knew that he had went to trial. We knew that there was some funny business with the jury. We knew that there was some funny business with payoffs and things like that. And we knew about Aaliyah. We knew about
yeah,
others, right? And so it took that documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, for people to say, that's it, we're done. And I think
yeah,
a lot of those same people, however, failed to and refused to watch Leaving Neverland. And that documentary, if you believe the documentary, if you watch the documentary, um, that the question is answered in a lot of ways as to, well, this idea of how he was able to do it, and how why people still believe Michael Jackson. That it's all there in that documentary. Why those staunch Michael Jackson believers will find reasons to believe him, but it also shows someone who, if you're to believe the documentary, who manipulated not only these kids and their families, but manipulated the entire world.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
so it's really, with all these guys, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, it's sad to see, even like Bill Cosby, like you mentioned, it's sad to see these black icons,
yeah,
reduced to these, whether they're allegations or in R. Kelly's case, straight out convictions. It's sad to see this. It really is sad.
yeah,
Regardless if they're true or not, because there is some smoke with all the fires, regardless, right? So
yeah,
because you said earlier, why did he keep putting himself in that position? And while he was alive, when Michael Jackson was alive, there were many. Tom, was it Bradley? What was the black guy? He's dead now. He worked for CBS News. He interviewed Michael
Ed
and Ed Bradley. He said he asked him on it was a CBS special. He asked Michael, uh, you know, are you going to now stop this behavior? Are you going to stop sleeping with these kids? And he said no on global television.
I have to say, I was like, now look here, Michael. Now that's ridiculous. And Catherine Joe, somebody should have been like, look here now, this is stupid.
This has got to stop.
This has to stop.
Even if you are innocent, and you these are not your relatives too that you're sleeping with.
And even if they were relatives, like you're not sleeping with kids when you're 45 and they're 10. Like you don't do that. Like there are just certain things that a person should not do as an adult. And I don't, that whole, now there are certain things I said, look here, Michael, we had to stop. Because this whole idea, I'm still in the kid's mind. Like, no, you're not. I'm saying your childhood you didn't have your childhood the way other kids did, but you're grown. You're not, you're having kids of your own, so you can't be, that there's just certain things. But I think we also don't want to, like you mentioned, manipulation. We as the public or just people in general don't want to admit that we were duped as well, that we fell for the okie doke. But celebrity, we have a way of thinking we know these celebrities and that these celebrities are perfect somehow because they're celebrities. And we don't know these people from Adam. We only know, and I'm just thinking about the allegations with Lizzo. And everybody's like, oh, we thought Lizzo, and now the allegations come out. And I'm like, we don't know Lizzo. We just know what she presents to us. That's all we know about any celebrities, what they present to us. Because we have so much more access today, we feel like we know them and we own them and they're ours, but they're not. They are people just like, and being a celebrity and being famous does not mean you're not any more messed up than any other person on the street.
Probably more messed up. Argument could be made you more messed up because you got all these other pressures.
Yeah, and you have all these people who allow you to do everything you want to do. So, like R. Kelly had all the people bringing the girls to him, Yeah,
and every last one of them should be locked up because these are little girls. These are not, these are not women. And the problem with R. Kelly and big reason why he was able to get away with it for so long is because they were Black women, right?
Yep. Oh yeah,
Black girls, I should say.
Yeah,
and we already know
nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And I think about Michael Jackson. If the people who say they were victimized were victimized, then you have to think like too. How does it feel for everyone to hate you and love this person that has harmed you? I think about these things.
Oh my goodness! It's like, did you watch the documentary? Because that's what was said in the documentary.
I didn't watch the documentary, and nor did I watch all the R. Kelly one either. Like I watched.
I didn't watch the R. Kelly one.
I was done. I didn't watch either one of them in its entirety. No.
Yeah, but that was exactly what was said in that documentary.
Really?
Leaving Neverland. Yeah, all these people love him. The whole world loves him. Wow, that is really interesting. Well, Oshia, we'll see what unfolds. You can't kill someone who's dead. So
no.
We'll see what unfolds there. But something else is unfolding in Washington. We know that Cornel West, and we know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they're running as Democrats. Now, Senator Joe Manchin, who is a Democrat, he's an elected Democrat, and who has flirted so much with the idea of either going at switching parties, becoming a Republican, and recently saying that he feels like he's more independent than he is Democrat or Republican. Well, Senator Joe Manchin, he's now accused both parties of villainizing each other as he continues to fuel speculation of a third-party White House bid with the bipartisan group No Labels. He says if you're a Democrat, they expect you to villainize every Republican. If you're a Republican, you should villainize the Democrats. Manchin has been asked, and he has said the door is open to a presidential run. He has not decided, he said. And he says that as far as the Republicans and Democrats are concerned, that's not the way, he says, I quote, our founding fathers intended for this democracy to work. It was intended for us to work together. He commended the efforts by No Labels, which has been pushing a potential quote unquote unity ticket as a third option in the 2024 presidential race to present Americans with additional choices. Shia, is he running?
I hope not. I hope not. My first question was going to be, what as a Republican, this third party idea, I like it in theory. I really do. And when I was much, much younger, I was all for it. But as you get, and I agree with him, like everybody just wants to hold on to their power. There's no compromise anymore. It's all about power grabbing and hold on to power when there used to be this actual, at least it seemed to be, maybe I was just too young and didn't see it for what it was, but there seemed to be a spirit of compromise and working together for the greater good. That seems to be gone nowadays. But he's trying to get power too. Let's just be honest, right? And the third party idea, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You usually take votes from what, the Democrats? With this idea is usually people who are Democrat leaning, who go with the third party, not people who are Republicans. Republicans tend to be staunch Republicans no matter what. They tend to just stay there, even if they're not happy. The people that didn't like Trump still voted Republican because that's what they believe in. Democrats are the ones that are wishy-washy and it's independent thing. And I'm more to it. I'm an independent. I'm not really leaning toward Democrats because I don't always agree with everything they do. But that third party thing, when it comes to actual election, actual voting, it just takes away people and allows the Republicans. And that really could be his strategy. I'm
Well,
joking.
he said, as we see on our screen, he says, if I get in the race, I'm going to win. He has every intention. If he gets in the race, in other words, I'm not in it just to take votes from folks. I'm in it to win it. And you mentioned something just a moment ago. Yeah, but I wanted to go into just a little bit of what you said, though. You said Democrat leanings. These third parties tend to take from Democrats. Republicans are Republicans regardless. What's the problem with the Democratic Party that you have folks like that who, if you, because it sounds like it comes down to this: if you come along with something that seems a little tasty, or you jump in ship.
I think the problem is Democrats try to be so all encompassing and the party of everyone that they become the party of nothing and no one. Republicans stake their claim on the things they believe in, and that's what the talking points stay the same. Everyone knows the talking points, and everyone sticks with the talking points. Democrats are over here, they're over there. We want you to come into us. We want you to come we want to be a home for you. I mean, I think we saw the last couple of elections, Black men really felt ignored by the Democratic Party because they were courting so many other people instead of courting their base. Republicans know their base and they are going to court their base, and it hasn't changed. Democrats, any new group that pops up, Democrats are like, "Oh, we're for you, and they're the new flavor of the month, and so they're getting all the attention, and it leaves those who've been the past flavors of the month, they're ignored now. So I think Democrats have to really figure out who they are and what they want to be, and I feel like that has been the problem for a number of years. It's a very weak platform to say we're for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because what does that really mean?
Yeah. Well, we also see too. You say Black men felt left out. We also see that these candidates also seem to, in a lot of ways, they just overlook or take for granted where the Black vote is going to go.
Oh, wow.
Now, saying that, and I don't know what the Biden administration's or the Biden's campaign, I should say, not administration, but the Biden campaign plans are. But we just learned yesterday that he's going to be spending $25 million in battleground states in a television and digital ad campaign. We already know that CNN is the recipient of some of those ads. We don't know who else right now. At least I don't know who else. But when you talk about a digital ad campaign, shouldn't that include the Black press?
I was just getting ready to say, does that include the Black press? Probably, hopefully, but it would be. I'll be curious to see who all they do go after. If they go after other association, other newsrooms, Hispanic press, I would be curious to see if they, and then just ignore the Black press. But I think Black people too have not forgiven Biden for that. If you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. That pissed a lot of Black people off when he said that.
It was a pretty bold statement, right?
Well, coming from a white man, white man, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. That was like,
but when you can you give him the benefit of the doubt a little bit when you think about the context of it all, the fact that that the other at that point the other option was Donald Trump.
I got what he was trying to say, but it was still, that I don't know. I know when he got done speaking, his people were like, "Look here, that was a mistake." He never apologized, did he? He just, So I think there's still people who are not happy about that, and so they're looking for other people to. I'm kind of excited about Cornel West, just because I just want to see, but I haven't heard much more from than the initial. I'm running. I haven't really heard him doing much. I'm not excited about Joe Manchin or the Kennedy guy. No. But I'm
Kennedy
excited
and Manchin. Kennedy, Manchin, Cornel West. The same applies as far as engaging and getting your voice across to Black America. And none of them, including Dr. Cornel West, seems to have done a good job to this point, or even any type of job to this point. Of really, we saw Ice Cube with RFK Jr., but Ice Cube has now been, for all intent and purposes, outed as a operative for the conservatives. So he don't even count.
I can't. I don't even understand. You talk about break my heart with Ice Cube. Oh gosh, I don't even I'm like, I'll never have dinner with the president. That Ice Cube, what are we doing here? I try to give Cube the benefit of the doubt, and and say, okay, but it makes sense to work with. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
So oftentimes we've said that, Oshia, and at least as this was unfolding before it really unfolded, that okay, wait, all he's trying to do is maybe he's trying to do this, do that, whatever. Now the latest stuff, and now he might as well just wherever he go wear the MAGA hat, because he's just really he threw himself out there.
But
gosh, we were told
money.
Wait, Oshia, we were told that by Mark Thompson, make it plain that at the 50th anniversary of hip hop concert, Ice Cube was booed at Yankee Stadium.
Oh no! Oh gosh! When you get that kind of money that he has, a lot of times your politics do change, because now you're interested in keeping your money and business deals and all these things. So the transition is not a shock had it been anyone but Ice Cube.
She's struggling, y'all.
I have been struggling with this ever since came with the contract thing. I have been struggling with Ice Cube for a long time. What, a year or so now? And Tucker Carlson, I was just like, what, Cube? And then when I hear him come on Serious, I'm like, okay, but I'm like, I don't know what's going on with Cube here. But back to
Wow.
like the Cornel West and I don't know. I don't see anyone making a splash. I don't even know if regular folk know Cornel West has even put his hat in the ring. I don't even know.
Right.
Because it was like a splash, but is it just a splash for those of us who are into the news? It was a splash for everyone because I actually need to go around and asking people I know. Do you know who Cornel West is for one, and do you know he's running for president? Because it's not like when Jesse Jackson did or Al Sharpton. They had serious name recognition that Dr.
Yeah.
Cornel West I think has, but I think he doesn't have. Square saying Cornel West not expected to win. Yeah, well, at least he's saying it, unlike Manchin.
At least he admitted it, right?
I mean, everybody, but
So
most
it becomes, well, why is he in the race?
I don't know.
He's probably got a platform he needs to get out there, right?
He's going to write a book. He's going to write a new book. That's my dad's theory. My dad's theory is anyone who runs for president has a book they're waiting to put out. So, and their books become bestsellers.
Oh gosh!
Well, I want to more famous too. It's a way to get a national platform. Was my rent's too high? We know that. We know that. The rent's too high. No, so I think he sold a book too.
He sold a book too.
Herman Cain had a book. Everybody come. So that's my dad's theory. They all come with the book.
Well, Power 96 says Cornel West is going to hold a rally in Jackson, Mississippi. And Mike V, going back to your comment about not forgiving Black folks, not forgiving Biden for that statement, Mike V says that Trump said, Black people, what do you have to lose? And Black folks weren't offended by that.
He said they were offended or were not offended?
We're not.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't offended by that. But I don't think that saying, what do you have to lose is the same thing as saying, you ain't Black.
You gotta question my Blackness.
Yeah, that's a definitive versus a question of what do you have to lose, making you see versus offending you,
Wow. So O'Shea, if you
with hot sauce like Hillary, that wasn't even pandering to Black folks.
Wow, you ain't Black. O'Shea can't get over that one. Well, again, this is here we are in August of 2023, and things really are starting to kick off. And of course, in about a year, we should have a better vision of who's going to be the last two standing.
Yeah.
Or three, it depends. Because with all this third party talk, you might just have your three-party race. So we will see.
It will be
sad news, huh?
It would be interesting.
It's going to be interesting, and it's what Joe Manchin is an interesting character because for ever since the Democrats took control of the Senate, he's been really the guy with the swing vote on everything. So he's had all the power, and we've seen what he's been doing the last couple of years with all that power. So this would not be a surprise for many if he did decide to run for president. It wouldn't be a surprise for many. I don't think it would be.
No, I don't think so.
Because you said earlier, like you mentioned this, the power hungry. So folks are power hungry. So
yeah,
that's
they
where
are.
It's at. That's where it's at. So some sad news, Ashia, before we close out this morning. Ron Cephas Jones, the veteran stage actor who won 2 Emmys for his role as a long-lost father who finds redemption on the NBC television drama This Is Us, has died at the age of 66. It was a long-standing pulmonary issue, according to his manager. And he said throughout the course of his career, his warmth, beauty, generosity, kindness, and heart were felt by anyone who had the good fortune of knowing him. He had a double lung transplant in 2020 because of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and spent nearly 2 months in a Los Angeles hospital. And on This Is Us, we know he played William Shakespeare Hill, a biological father whose life is renewed through his relationship with the family of his son, Randall Pearson, played by Sterling K. Brown. So sad news. Ron Cephas Jones dying at the age of 66.
Yeah, I watched This Is Us, and I loved William. I loved his character. He brought so much to that character that you could have hated. I mean, the writers wrote it, but he made the character come alive. So, and to hear this, and like I said earlier, we don't know these celebrities. We didn't know that he was struggling, with what you said, double lung transplant. We didn't know this. So
Exactly.
to see that he still remained on the show, until his character died. Yeah, just wow. 66. The older I get, the younger that is. So, wow.
The
That just
older you get, the younger that is. I like that.
yeah. That is just. I saw that Saturday when the news broke Saturday. I was
Yes.
yeah, happened to be on my phone, and I saw the notification come, and I was like, no. I didn't realize his daughter is an actress too, and they both won
Yes.
awards at the same
Yes.
time. That was really sweet. So
Yeah,
rest in peace.
yeah, exactly. It's sad. Really, really outstanding actor too. Wow,
Yeah.
just an outstanding actor. Well, as we close, Power 96 had reminded us that it's Monday. SWAC football starts this Saturday. He says JSU versus South Carolina State, and he's predicting that it's going to be JSU, in his words, by 40. So that's going to be interesting, Power 96. Ashia, congratulations on your
Thank
new
you.
task in life, a huge undertaking.
Thank you.
We are going to be watching to see all the great news that comes out of the great state of Indiana, but most importantly, that comes from your organization. So thanks a whole lot for sharing that with us. And thanks for
Thank
sharing
you.
your Monday morning with us. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.